keep hearing in a fresh way Paul's words. You've been saved by grace. Because there's a way we can take that says, okay, I've been saved by grace. Now I need to measure up to God. How many of us feel like we've let God down? Yeah. And somehow we need to quit that. You know, I'm not saying maybe we don't need to make changes, you know, but somehow it seems like you're saved by grace means you haven't let God down. You know? I just really believe that that's true. And I struggle with that myself, you know. But I've come to believe that the grace of God means we have not let him down. He does not look at us and think, well, I had plans for him, but he didn't really do as well as I thought he'd do. I don't believe that for a second. Now, it doesn't really matter what I believe. But I believe that the story of the Bible is you're saved by grace, not by a scale. You know? When my children mess up, I don't love them any less. I hurt for them because I know the worst thing that happens is they now feel like they don't measure up. That's the worst thing. So they feel like they have to measure up to something. You know? But that does nothing, nothing for my love for them. You know? If there's a break in our relationship, they're going to have to break it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to just be because they don't measure up. If any, and probably all of us feel like we let God down, we need to stop doing that. And I just want us to hear, drop the scale for yourself. Drop the scale that you've created for yourself, that you think that you don't measure up, or you think that God is holding a scale out every day, saying, okay, I've saved you, but now let's get on the scale and see if you're still good enough for salvation, for my love. I don't believe that's the story of the Bible. And I believe that what fuels us every day is not trying to measure up, but what fuels us is grace and love. That's what should fuel us every day. I was thinking, you know, these locks on these doors, I almost had the landlady convinced to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to replace these locks, which is what it would have cost with these kind of locks. And one day, it may have been Linda, somebody one day said, why don't you try WD-40?
That works on everything.
And so I did, and now the locks work perfectly, you know, and beautifully. And I was thinking, what for our lives to work, it will never become from measuring up. It's going to become from having to be well oiled. And the oil of our lives is joy. And joy comes through grace and love. Joy comes through every day waking up and saying, I'm off the scale. Yeah, I'm imperfect. Yeah, I need to make some changes. I want to, I'm no longer into measuring up. I'm now into growing up. This world was made for growth. And we see that every year. We see it beautifully every year, especially if you live where there's winter. We see this death and we see this coming to life and this growth. We see this circle. We are made for growth. Okay? And there is a time when we quit growing physically. Yeah, at least, you know, taller. And but we're made.
Thanks, Dave.
We are made to grow. All things are made to grow when they have life. And so we're made to grow up, not to measure up, to grow up. And we grow up in grace and we grow up in love. And we grow up into the person that we most want to be. The person we were created to be. And so that's, once again, is what we spend time on Sunday, is picturing the person that we love, the person that we most want to be, the person that God has put into our hearts, individually and collectively, but individually, uniquely, to be. You know? A person of humility, a person of joy, a person of life, a person of patience, And we all have different strengths in those areas. It's amazing, all the different strengths and attributes that we have. But we seek all the things that what they call the fruits of the Spirit. You know, those are all fitted uniquely into each one of us. So you can't just totally define it. Peace and love and joy and patience, you know. But it's all fruits of the Spirit that Jesus brought. So, life should be an adventure of joy. The old life is measuring up, and if that's what you've been doing, then try to think about this week. Every day you wake up and say, my old life was measuring up. Now I'm just growing up in joy. And when you go through a day and you look back and say, man, I really messed up today, you haven't disappointed God. He's still there. The earth is still rotating, you know. And as long as you have another day to wake up, you can get up and continue in His grace and love to grow into the person that He's made you to be. I don't mean that doesn't mean sometimes calling for some big changes in our lives, calling for some dramatic changes. It doesn't mean sometimes we're not going to mess up and it's going to have big consequences and it's going to bring about suffering and tears. It does. But it does not disqualify us from the grace of God and from His power and from His love. Stop measuring up and just wake up with joy for growing up. All right? That's the Love Your Life workshop for today. Let's pray.